Hey, it's Pete with Backdrop Bikes. We are going to test drive the new 2022 GS Adventure 1250. Hey, I appreciate you supporting the channel. I do have some new merch in. If you want to wear one of these cool shirts and look spiffy while doing it and supporting a good cause, please check out the link in the description for our merchandise. So this is the 2022. No luggage on this, obviously, but kind of the Rallye edition is getting me excited. I like it. It's got the TFT, obviously. It has the GSA classic BMW cradle for the navigation system, but besides for that, I mean, everything on these bikes kind of stays the same year after year. This is a keyless ride, so key will unlock. You can start with the push button, fob, and of course suspension geometry, everything else is the same. New adaptive headlighting, pretty slick looking. Still has the telelever suspension as well, that little control arm deal. It's kind of cool. And full-on crash bar setup too, as you can see. I really like the crash bars on these. I mean, they really do a good job of protecting the vitals. Not sure about the factory skid plate, but I mean, that could be changed out very easily. A few other small design cues from the previous gen, but I mean, there's a lot of things that are the same. This has the ZF suspension package, which is a dynamic ESA control. So again, this can be controlled by the different ride modes and such. And this also has the factory exhaust on it, which actually sounds pretty decent. It's probably like my favorite factory exhaust system that's out there. The only thing I'm not super keen about, and they do this to reduce noise, is the servo, exhaust servo. So you've got two cables here, and it basically chokes the exhaust down and idle to reduce the noise, which isn't always a bad thing, but not super duper fan of it. So again, white, you've got the GS embossed logo on the tank, and again, this is the 1250, so we're gonna have a little bit more power than the 1200 with the power cam. This also has the quick shifter on it, so that'll be kind of fun. The quick shifting is kind of interesting when you think about it, because you actually don't even have to use the clutch. You just rock on, jam it when you're on there, and it's pretty remarkable. So one thing about this bike that I can't wait to try is the higher RPM that you get with the new cam. So let's take it for a ride, shall we? All right, boys and girls, welcome to the 2022 GSA. Very similar. Again, the GSAs don't change too much, and the difference with this one is the 1250's engine is just slightly different with a different cam, so there's supposedly more power. The red line is up to 9,000. I've got it on Dynamic Pro. I mean, it's pretty fast. This will be a nice one. Again, BMW, we're on the team ride, so I've got a BMW factory guy with me, so it's a little tricky. You can't really give her the spanking that you like, but it still gives you enough to really enjoy it. I love the black handlebar on this thing too. This is so nice. Between the 1200 and the 1250, not a lot has changed. The bike feels good, for sure.
guy rides a lot slower than the other guy. Bike's geometry is very well balanced, very comfortable. Again, upright riding position, plenty of room to stretch out on. One question a lot of people ask about the BMW is how much room, or how tall do you have to be to ride this bike? Because this bike is a heavy, tall bike. Well, the answer is that they're very adjustable. You can move these around, the seats up and down. There's several positions that actually work well. You can lose a couple inches. Here we go. Let's see if this guy lets me go. Haha! Alright, so here's what I see about this bike. It's got, definitely wakes up a little bit on the higher end there. I don't know, maybe 7,500 RPMs. It seems like this thing really comes alive right to the red line. I mean, it pulls. No hesitation, no flat spot on the power curve. Very, very, very good. BMW's really got this bike dialed in. I mean, this is a pavement test run today. We're not doing any off-roading, but you know, strictly comparing this, like if you were thinking about upgrading from a 1200 to a 1250, you can feel the difference in the upper RPMs, but you're not talking huge horsepower gains. I will throw the stats up here on there. It's a solid platform the BMW's been making a long time, and if it isn't broke, don't fix it, bub, right? The suspension on these bikes just soaks up the bumps. The braking is just excellent. Geometry, ride height. No problem, and very, very comfortable to ride long distances. So the longest distance I've done on my bike so far has been about 4 hours without stopping, and zero cramping, zero uncomfortable feeling like you get sometimes when you're on a crotch rocket or a cruiser and you're just all tangled up. The bikes, BMW's really got it figured out as far as rider comfort, because they know people are going to ride these bikes for a long time. So kudos to them for taking the time to really dig into the suspension. Just to talk a little bit about the TFT, the display, it's very bright, very crisp. The numbers and print is big enough so you can see it without squinting. I know some of the other bikes I've ridden with the TFTs, the displays are so small, it's almost distracting trying to figure out, you know, what you're doing. This bike, if you see my hand over here, it's got this control called the Wonder Wheel. I believe that's the name they call it. Basically, you access the menu by pushing the button down, and then the wheel ticks sideways back and forth to access the different things in the menu. Once you select something that you want, you also can click down on the menu button again, and then it will give you the stats. So the wheel allows you to cycle in and out, especially if you have the factory GPS system on. You can actually zoom in and out. If you're listening to music and such and you have a BMW Connected Ride headset, you can turn the volume up and down. I don't go for that just because I have a Cardopac headset and I think the audio quality is so much better than the factory. But yeah, very, very intuitive design that's, you know, really you're keeping your eyes on the road, you're not really messing around with stuff. So I like the way the layout on the screen is. Again, it's very easy to read. This is not a touch screen, okay? BMW didn't elect to do that, which I think is smart because typically you're wearing gloves, and also you really don't want to take your hands off the handlebars. And with this style with my finger, I can easily cycle around and do things. Clicking on the menu button on the upside, it'll change it from trip meters to range, instant miles per gallon, how long you've been riding, time till break, average speeds, all types of stuff, tire pressures. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And the range on these bikes is amazing. The fuel tank here on these is big. It's the Adventure Rallye Edition. Obviously, the Adventure Edition GSA, or GS Adventure, shall I say, has the larger tank. So that's going to give you extended range when you are going on your expedition, whether it's across the Sahara, wherever you're going. I know up here in northern New England, there are some stretches where you don't have gas, you don't have access to gas, and it's nice to be able to gas up and not worry about it, and also not take a long time stopping for fuel every, all the time. It's nice to just be able to giddy up and go. I really do like the layout of the GS. I mean, I personally own the 2018 edition of the 1200, and it's just a solid bike. I mean, they don't have a lot of problems. BMW's customer service is really good. They stand behind what they build. I will say, on the negative side of that, there isn't a lot of BMW dealers. So if you look at a brand like Harley Davidson, you've got a dealer every time you blink your eyes. I mean, you can go anywhere and get your bikes worked on. But with the BMW, I mean, you might have one per state sometimes, right? One or two, and they're few and far between. So that's a little bit of a downside. But at the same time, if your bike's not breaking, and like myself, I like to do my own maintenance, then why not, right? Why not? Hydraulic clutches on these, obviously, same as a lot of the other BMW models, comes with a USB port from the factory. And of course, the windshield's got the quick adjust, which is really, really nice. No tools needed. Just does a really nice job. I know sometimes some of the bikes are electric and things like that, but I mean, it doesn't need to be overly complicated. How often do you adjust your windshield, right? The headlights on these are a little adaptive. LED packages on the other bulbs, so no maintenance there, no maintenance issues. And one thing about BMW that's really nice is they have the keyless ride, so you don't need to have the key with you in an ignition somewhere. You can have it in your pocket, protected, but it's a switchblade key, similar to like the Volkswagens, right? And that key controls everything on the bike. It'll control the seats, it'll control the boxes. If you have them, they're all keyed the same. So pretty awesome. As far as the color scheme on this, the Rallye Edition, I'm not sure I dig it. I'd much rather have the triple black. I like the murdered out look, just low pro. That's my style. And I'm not a huge fan of the factory BMW mirrors. I like mirrors are a little bit more adjustable. These have like a ball socket, and you can loosen them up, but you have to turn them, and it's just a little challenging. The cruise control button, I'll just talk about for a second, is kind of like arming a fighter pilot missile system. You slide it sideways, and then you have a rocker switch that goes back and forth to select your speed. So it's a little different than obviously the normal setup, but once you kind of understand how this works, the slide keeps you from accidentally engaging it, right? And then the toggle switch, the rocker back and forth, is actually pretty good as well, because you can just blip it up and blip it down, no problem. And everything is very easily accessible. You also have a nice button here dedicated for your suspension and for your traction control. So you can literally turn it on and off on the fly. See? It's great. I love it. I wish more bikes did that. I don't want to be buried in a menu somewhere where you have to cycle through, and you're riding a motorcycle. You don't want to keep your eyes on a menu. You want to be able to easily shift around and find what you're looking for, and keeping your eyes on the road and your attention focused. So now I'm gonna put this thing in second gear and wheelie into the back of the dump truck. Again, the factory pipe on these I'm a fan of. I think the engines sound fantastic. If you put a free-flowing air filter on this like a K&N, it really makes the engine growl. But it doesn't sound bad either. Just right from the factory. The gearbox on these, I just can't say enough about the smoothness that BMW has on their gear shifting. They've got it figured out. It's not stiff to operate whatsoever. You could shift this with bare feet if you had to. Of course, I wouldn't recommend it, but shifts very well. And of course, the quick shifter is super fun when you're getting on it. And we'll show you that coming up here when we get on the back side of the track. Of course, again, I've got the lead guy here, so I've got to be a little bit behaved, but the quick shift works good not only for upshifting but also for downshifting. If you use the quick shifter, just as a tip, you've got to shift with a purpose. You can't, like, you know, oh, I'm going to let off the throttle and shift it. No, this quick shifter is like positive engagement, shift with a purpose. So right like this, Raj. See how I kind of don't have a lot of throttle on it, and it's a little bit of a jerky motion when I shift. That's due to the fact that the bike has a small clutch that it's trying to spin up to make the shift happen. But if you do it under load, believe it or not, it actually shifts really, really good. And I'll do that when I get down here. And you can downshift right to first too, by the way. Watch this. Here we go. The front wheel was so loose on that launch. Oh, I love it. 0 to 100 in like literally 15 seconds. Fantastic. If that doesn't make you happy, then you need to go get your pulse checked. Hey, thanks for riding with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed this ride. Can't say enough good things about the GSA 2022 BMW. You're doing a good job. Keep knocking it out of the park, guys. Until next time, ride safe.